Have you ever pushed yourself to the limit working on your projects and then crashed? If you have ever experienced this push and then crash cycle while working on your projects, then this video is for you. Hi there, I'm Jennifer Glatz, project leadership coach and founder of ProCollab Consulting. And in this project leadership coaching session, we are going to be chatting about project leader wellness. We are going to have a chat about your self-care roadmap. Now, before you click away, this is not a video about me saying, yes, exercise, yes, eat well. And of course, those things are important, but your self-care as a project leader is so much more than that. And we are going to unpack some tactics, some strategies, some things that you can do to increase your self-care as you work on your projects, because we know that project leadership is very demanding. It can be very challenging, very stressful on us. And so let's unpack some items about self-care to help you flourish inside your career. So let me know in the comments, project leader, what does the crash look like for you? So if you've been pushing, working on project milestones, trying to get to that next phase or that next stage gate, and then you suddenly crash, what does the crash look like for you? For me, it is migraines. So I have struggled with migraines for the bulk of my career. And usually I like to publish these project leadership coaching session videos on Tuesdays. That is my aim. But today is Wednesday because, yes, of course, I missed yesterday because of a migraine. Now, these migraines, as I said, have been happening to me throughout my whole career. And what I've learned from getting these awful, awful migraines is that it is so important to prioritize your self-care. Project leadership can be extremely stressful, extremely demanding, very hard on our minds and our bodies. And so it's really important to come up with a self-care strategy that's going to work for you as an individual and then stick to it. And so through this video, what I'd like to walk you through is really a 4-step process that you can walk through to not only develop your self-care plan, but also follow through on it. So what I've experienced in implementing this for myself in my career is that although I've had migraines, yes, they are becoming fewer and far between now. I'm starting to really see some success. It's really happening maybe 2 times a year as opposed to 2 times per month. And so by implementing this self-care plan, I've really seen a difference in my overall health and in my overall longevity when it comes to project leadership. So before we talk about how to actually develop your self-care plan, let's unpack the push crash cycle a little bit. Now, just as a really quick disclaimer, I'm going to be talking about the brain for just a second. I am not a healthcare professional, so this is not to replace any professional medical advice. This is simply just to give you some information, some insights when it comes to how our brains function that connect to self-care. So if you are experiencing some symptoms, I highly encourage you to seek out medical advice. So let's talk a little bit about our nervous system, specifically our brains. So when we are under incredible stress on our projects, our sympathetic nervous system is the system that is in charge of the fight or flight. So I like to think of this as the lion stage. So when things are really stressful, really crazy, really hectic, our heart rates go up. Our breath rate goes up. We just feel this tension in our body, like we need to fight or we need to escape or we need to do something. And it's very much like way back in the day when we were being chased by lions, right? So there's that part of the brain, the amygdala, is the area in the brain that triggers when we are under stress and we need to do something, either fight, flight, or even freeze. So then what happens once the threat goes away, once the lion goes away, then our parasympathetic nervous system kicks in. So this is the system where it helps us to relax. So we breathe more deeply, our heart rate comes down, our digestion starts to work again. All of these systems kind of start ramping up again to help our bodies calm down. So I like to think of this as kitty cat taking a nap. It is the moment in time where we can breathe, we can relax, and our bodies settle and recover. Now, why am I talking about the brain? Why am I talking about the amygdala? Why am I talking about the difference between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system? Understanding these different systems will help you to understand your push crash cycle and the different things that happen for you when you're under that stress and when you're trying to recover from that stress. And when you can unpack that and understand that much more deeply, that's going to help you be successful in your careers for the long term. Not only that, it's going to help you live healthy as well. So, this is all about your long term career success. I want to see you succeed, project leader, to stay within project leadership for the long term and be able to get through and see the results of those amazing projects that you're working on. So, project leaders who practice disciplined self care have sustainable high performance for the long term. Now, not only that, a bonus here with this self care plan is that it also gives you a way to model self care for your project team members as well. So, all the people that you're leading, they are watching. They are watching how you take care of yourself. They are watching your habits. And if we can set up a really great example of what self care looks like, then of course they have a way to model self care for them. And so you are also perpetuating a culture of self care within your organization as well. So there's a double bonus in there by implementing this plan. So my coaching objective for this video, this is really for project leaders who want longevity in their careers. And what I would like to show you is how to create a sustainable project leader self care plan. And I encourage you to set a goal as you're watching this video. Set a goal for yourself to get through, learn the framework to create your own self care plan, and then start implementing it this week. And I would love to hear about your successes. I'd love to hear about your feedback on how it's going. So, of course, circle back to this video, leave me a comment, and let me know how you're getting on with it. All right, so let's dive in to the framework. Let me introduce you to my project leader self-care framework. It is all about creating a sustainable self-care plan for yourself for that long-term success. And this framework really is 4 questions. 4 questions to consistently ask yourself to plan and to practice self-care. So let me walk you through the 4 questions. Question number 1, what's the list? All right, so what do I mean by what's the list? You and I both know that as project leaders, we always have this long list that's inside of our brains that involves not only the things that we need to accomplish on our projects, but also the things that we need to accomplish in our personal lives. And we're really good at making these lists and keeping a tally and keeping it going and mentally crossing things off. But what happens when we have a very long list is it's in our brains and it's taking up a lot of cognitive load or cognitive power to maintain this list. And so, what I'd like to encourage you to do as you build this self care plan, the first thing is to get your list out of the brain and onto a piece of paper or electronically. What does this do? This removes the need to continually update your list inside your brain on an ongoing basis. And so it actually lowers your cognitive load that you experience on a day to day basis. So write it down, make a physical list, get it outside of your brain onto a piece of paper. And in my experience implementing this, my stress level goes down immediately because I stop worrying about whether I'm going to remember all of the things, if I'm going to remember to keep all of the balls in the air. So it brings the stress level down, knowing that I have all of the things captured on a piece of paper. And I like to make a series of lists. So maybe this little trick will be helpful for you as well. I like to make a list of the most important priorities in the day or the week. I like to make a second list of the tasks that need to be completed. So maybe not the big strategic things, but the little tasks that are nagging at me that I know need to get done. And then I also like to keep a running list of maybe some of the personal stuff that needs to get taken care of as well. And so when I can categorize into those three buckets, it just helps me kind of think through and really get it all out on paper. So I would love to hear your comments, your feedback on giving that a try, and if that helps you kind of get your lists out, and if it helps to reduce your stress. Now, one more quick tip about what's the list. The other thing I like to do on a daily basis, particularly in the mornings as I start my day, is I like to go through the list and identify what is the one most important thing. I call it the MIT for most important thing. What is that thing that I need to accomplish today? And if I can accomplish that one most important thing is going to make my day successful. So oftentimes I'll go through the list in the morning and I'll identify what is that one most important thing that needs to get done. All right, so the very first question in your self-care plan is what's the list? And to get it all out on paper, electronic, if that works better for you, to reduce that cognitive load of tracking all the things that you need to get done. Question number 2, what are my needs? Now, this can be a multitude of things. When we're talking about needs inside the workplace, this could be your workplace structure. This could be location. This could be team members that you need to have involved in conversations or topics or priorities. This could be stationary, something that simple. Um, Outside of the workplace, this could also be what are my physical needs and physiological needs? So, do I need some exercise today? Is that going to be important today? Do I need to hydrate today? Did I not drink enough water? You can tell I'm in my tank top today. It is very, very warm where I am as I'm filming this video. And so I like to ask myself, how much water did I get today? And maybe do I need to hydrate a little more? Do I need to connect with someone? Is there someone who is on my mind that I would like to check in with that maybe I have a concern about or a question that I want to run past them? So, the second question in your self care plan is not only identifying your work related needs, but also your personal, your physiological needs. And how can I best take care of those needs so that I can show up and do my best work? So it's a really powerful question. What are you needing today? The third question in your self care plan, this is a powerful one. What's distracting me? All right, so let me unpack this one a little bit. For me, it is very difficult to concentrate, especially on things that are complex or that take a lot of cognitive load, when my workspace is cluttered, messy, not kept. Are you like that too, project leader? This can be whether I'm working from home, working from the office. If things are out of place or if things are cluttered or are not taken care of, it's a big, big distraction for me. And I find sometimes that I need to take care of that mess before I can come back and focus on the thing that I need to focus on. Learning that has been so powerful for me because if I can remove all of the distractions, it allows me to really do that deep, focused, intentional work. And it allows me to show up doing my best. So, a powerful question is, what's distracting me today? Is there something I need to take care of? Maybe that's even in your personal life. Is there an appointment that you need to book, or is there something that you need to pick up? What is it? What's the thing that is distracting you from doing your best intentional deep work? And if you can take care of that distraction, oh, it's going to make life so much easier. It's going to remove some of the stress as well. One of the big things that can be a really big distraction, of course, as we know, is the cell phone, the mobile phone. Yes, so all the binging and bopping and booping, emails coming in, text messages coming in, checking in the Instagram, checking the Facebook, all of these things are very, very distracting. And so it can be helpful if you're conscious of that distraction to maybe put that phone on silent for a few minutes or a couple of hours, or maybe to schedule specific time in your workday where you do check in on email or you do check in on your socials so that it's not an ongoing thing throughout your day, that you're able to remove that distraction and come back to it when you need to. So it's a really powerful question. What is distracting me today? And how can I best remove that distraction to focus on my best and deep work? All right, and last but not least, the fourth question in your self care plan to ask is, who can help me? So, as project leader, one of the very powerful and important skills that we have is delegation. So it's a great idea to ask yourself, who can help me in this moment? Is there someone on my team that can help take something off my plate? Is there someone at home who can help me take something off of the home plate? Or is there another person that I can reach out to in my professional network or in my circle of friends and family that can take something else off the plate, relieve some of the stress, and help me to focus again? So who can help me pull out those delegation skills? Think through that, and if you can remove something from your plate altogether, it's going to help certainly with your self-care plan. So I wanted to walk you through those four questions. So just a quick recap. This is the Project Leader Self-Care Framework. It has those four questions to go through. Number one, what's the list? What are all of the things on your mind right now? And get those things down on a piece of paper so that you can reduce the cognitive load in your brain of keeping track of all of those things. Number two, what are my needs? Is this work related, work environment related, team related, or is it more personal, physiological? What are the needs that I need to satisfy to be able to concentrate? Question number three, what's distracting me? Is that pile of laundry holding you back from doing your best work? I know sometimes that certainly comes up for me. And try and remove some of those distractions. And last but not least, who can help me? Who do I have around me within my network or within my friends and family circle who can remove some of those things that I can delegate to? They can take it off my list and help me to come back to center. So, putting this framework into practice and being really consistent with it, you can really limit the push and the crash cycle, right? And the intent here is that you're building a framework of self-discipline to really sustain high performance throughout your career. And this is one of the strategies that I have inside my project leader development system. But before we close out our coaching session for today, let's talk about, of course, how you can put this framework into action. So here is my project leader action plan for you. One thing that works really well for me to apply this framework is doing it on a weekly basis. So what I like to do is I spend a couple of minutes, usually on Sundays, to answer these four questions in the framework And I use my answers to create my self-care plan for the week. So I'll do a week look ahead on what that looks like. And what this does, it kind of sets you up for success. You kind of think through it on Sunday, and then you've got the plan in place throughout the week. So I invite you to give this a try. Pick a time of the week that works for you. Maybe you try Sunday or early Monday morning to plan out your self care for the week ahead, and let me know how that goes. The second thing to your project leader action plan is to set reminders. Now, this could be daily. Maybe you do a review of your self care plan at the beginning of the day, or even multiple times a day if things are feeling more stressful than usual. And just use this time to remind yourself and check in with yourself on how you're doing with the plan. Because remember, avoiding the push and crash cycle in your projects, it only works if you apply this self-care framework consistently. And what happens for me, like yesterday, is that I get these beautiful gifts, these beautiful reminders, albeit painful, right? The migraine will come back and it will remind me to say, oh, Jennifer, you've fallen off the wagon when it comes to self-discipline with your self-care plan. So I'm sure that's going to come up for you as well, that your body's going to remind you that maybe it's time to review that self-care plan as well. And if you would like practical tools and my support to help the project leaders inside your project-based organization to implement self-care practices so they can do their best work, then I've included a link below in the description of how you can book your project leadership development planning session with me as a next. All right, so I am looking forward to reading all of your comments, not only about what does the crash look like for you, but also how you're going with implementing this self-care framework. And I will see you in my next project leadership coaching session. See you then.